There's a particular kind of tiredness that doesn't come from doing too much. It comes from thinking too much. Some days your body is still, but your mind just won't sit down. If you've been feeling restless, overwhelmed, or quietly anxious lately, I want you to know you're not alone. Welcome. Come on in, get comfy, and let's sit for a while. Today, I want to talk honestly about the things no one sees. But before we begin, I want to say something clearly. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a specialist. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm simply a woman with lived experience. From replaying conversations in your head, from imagining outcomes that haven't happened, from scanning the horizon for problems that might not even exist. Anxiety is a strange companion. It doesn't knock loudly. It doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just slips into the room, sits down beside you and starts whispering. What if? What if you forgot something? What if you said the wrong thing? What if something goes wrong? And before you know it, your heart is racing, even though you're just standing in your kitchen holding a cup of tea. I didn't always have a name for it. I just thought I was a worrier, sensitive, overthinking again. But over the years I realised it wasn't weakness, it wasn't drama, it wasn't me being silly. It was anxiety. And in later years I realised it was a part of my ADHD. And one of the hardest parts about anxiety is that it's invisible. You can be smiling at the supermarket cashier while your chest feels tight. You can be sitting at a family dinner while your thoughts are spiralling quietly inside. You can be lying in bed at night, exhausted, and still feel like your mind is running laps around a racetrack. It's lonely sometimes, because from the outside, everything looks fine. Anxiety doesn't just live in the mind, it settles in the body. Tight shoulders, shallow breathing, a stomach that feels like it's holding its breath, a heart that suddenly decides it would like to audition for a drum solo. And then there's the restlessness. That feeling like you should be doing something, fixing something, preparing for something, even when there's nothing specific to fix. It's like living with a smoke alarm that goes off when you make toast. One of the most unhelpful phrases in the world is, just calm down. If anxiety could be solved by calming down, none of us would struggle with it. Anxiety doesn't respond to scolding. It doesn't respond to shame. It certainly doesn't respond to pretending it isn't there. In fact, the more you fight it, the louder it can become. I used to argue with my anxiety. I'd say, this is ridiculous, stop it. And my mind would say, oh good, you think this is ridiculous? Let's add 3 more worries. Very helpful. What I've learned, slowly, is that anxiety softens when it's acknowledged. Not indulged, not fed, just noticed. Oh, there you are again. When anxiety rises, the world can feel big and unpredictable. So I learned to make it smaller. I stopped trying to solve my entire future at 2 a.m. Instead, I asked myself, what is happening right now? Right now, I'm sitting in a chair. Right now, the room is quiet. Right now, I am safe. Anxiety loves the future. It lives in what if. But calm lives in what is. Sometimes coping isn't about eliminating anxiety. It's about grounding yourself in this exact moment. The feel of your feet on the floor, the sound of the kettle boiling, the steady rhythm of your breathing. Tiny anchors. There's a quiet shame that can come with anxiety, especially when you're the strong one, the capable one, the calm one everyone else leans on. It can feel embarrassing to admit that sometimes your own mind overwhelms you. But anxiety does not mean you are weak. It means your nervous system is trying, perhaps a little too enthusiastically, to protect you. It means you care. It means you feel deeply. It means you are human. And being human is not a flaw. If you're listening to this and thinking, yes, that's me, I want you to know something very simple. You are not broken. Your mind may be loud sometimes. Your heart may race. Your thoughts may spiral. But none of that makes you less capable, less strong, less worthy of peace. It just means you need softness. And softness is not weakness. It's wisdom. Anxiety has a funny way of convincing you that something must be done immediately. Fix it, solve it, prepare for it, Google it, text someone about it, rehearse it again. It creates urgency where there isn't always danger. And for years I responded exactly the way anxiety wanted me to, by trying to outrun it. If I felt anxious about a conversation, I'd replay it 10 times. If I felt anxious about the future, I'd attempt to mentally map out every possible scenario. If I felt anxious at night, I'd lay awake trying to figure it out. But anxiety is not a puzzle you can solve at 2 a.m. It's more like weather. It moves through. The problem is, we often try to wrestle the storm instead of letting it pass. One day, not dramatically, just quietly, I stopped trying to make it disappear. Instead, I tried something different. When that familiar tightness arrived, I said, internally because I don't need the neighbours worrying, "Oh, hello." That was it. Not "go away." Not "you're ridiculous." Not "what's wrong with me?" Just "hello." It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But acknowledging anxiety without panic changes the tone of the conversation inside your body. It's like saying to a frightened child, "I see you. You're safe. I'm here." And something softens. Not instantly, not always completely, but enough. Anxiety is not just thoughts, it's physical. So sometimes the most helpful thing isn't logic, it's biology. When your heart is racing, your body doesn't want a lecture, it wants reassurance. Slow breathing is not glamorous advice. It won't go viral, but it works. Not deep, dramatic breathing, just gentle, steady breaths. In for 4, out for 6. Longer on the exhale than the inhale. It tells your nervous system there is no tiger here. Sometimes I'll put one hand on my chest and one on my stomach, not in a theatrical way, just quietly, and breathe like I'm soothing someone else, because in that moment I am. Anxiety loves 2 words. What if? What if this goes wrong? What if I mess it up? What if they think something awful? What if something terrible happens? The mind is very creative. It can write disaster stories faster than a novelist on caffeine. What I've learnt to ask instead is, what if it goes okay? What if the conversation is fine? What if I handle it better than I expected? What if I am more resilient than I gave myself credit for? We often forget that what if works both ways. It doesn't erase fear, but it balances it. If I'm honest, a lot of my anxiety has been about control, wanting certainty, wanting guarantees, wanting life to promise me it won't surprise me. But life does not sign contracts. It changes, it shifts. It refuses to follow our carefully drawn maps. And the more I tried to control everything, the more anxious I became. Because control is exhausting. There's a strange freedom in admitting I cannot control everything, but I can cope. That sentence changed things for me. Not control, but cope. I can cope with difficult conversations. I can cope with uncertainty. I can cope with disappointment. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not gracefully every time, but I can. And so can you. Anxiety shrinks when life feels predictable in small ways. Not rigid, not scheduled down to the minute, just small anchors. A cup of tea at the same time each evening. A short walk after dinner. Turning off your phone an hour before bed. Soft lighting. Music that feels like comfort. Tiny rituals tell your nervous system, this is familiar. This is safe. We underestimate how much safety lives in routine. There's a voice inside anxious moments that can be very harsh. Why are you like this? Everyone else copes better. This is stupid. Get a grip. I had to learn to interrupt that voice. If a friend came to you and said, "My chest is tight and I'm scared something might go wrong," you wouldn't snap at them. You'd reassure them. So why do we speak to ourselves differently? Sometimes coping with anxiety is simply choosing a kinder tone inside your own head. Here's something I wish someone had told me earlier. You do not have to eliminate anxiety before you live your life. You do not need to be perfectly calm to take the trip, or make the call, or try new things. Anxiety may come along for the ride sometimes. That doesn't mean you stay at home. Courage isn't the absence of anxiety. It's moving forward gently, even when it's there. There's something I didn't understand for a long time. I thought anxiety meant I was fragile. But somewhere along the way, in the quiet moments between racing thoughts, I began to see something different. Anxiety had made me observant. It had made me thoughtful. It had made me deeply aware of how other people might be feeling. It had, in a strange and unexpected way, made me kinder. If you struggle with anxiety, you probably notice everything. The shift in someone's tone, the pause in a message, the look on someone's face, the slight change in atmosphere in a room. Sometimes it's exhausting, but that sensitivity also means you care. You think before you speak. You consider consequences. You try to do right by people. Anxiety often grows in people who are conscientious, who want to get things right, who want to be good, who want to protect what matters. That isn't weakness, that's depth. Don't go, don't try, stay small, it's safer. It tells you that safety equals control, that risk equals danger, that comfort equals hiding. And sometimes, for a while, we listen. We cancel plans, we avoid situations, we stay quiet when we want to speak. Not because we are incapable, but because our nervous system is tired. If that's you, I want to say this gently. Avoidance feels like relief in the moment, but it quietly feeds anxiety in the long run. The world becomes smaller, and so do we. You don't have to conquer anxiety in one brave, dramatic leap. You don't have to become someone fearless overnight. Sometimes coping looks like just a little exposure, just a little courage, just a little discomfort. Answering one message instead of 10. Going for a short walk instead of a big event. Speaking one honest sentence instead of giving a speech. Progress does not have to be loud. It just has to be forward. And forward can be very small. There will be days when anxiety feels louder again. Days when your chest tightens for no clear reason, when sleep doesn't come easily, when your thoughts spiral faster than you can ground them. That does not mean you're back at the beginning. Healing is not a straight line. Some days you feel steady and strong. Others you feel fragile and unsure. Both are part of being human. This one took me years to understand. A thought is not a fact. Just because your mind says this will go badly doesn't mean it will. Just because your mind says you can't handle this doesn't mean you can't. If anxiety has been part of your story, you may have already built resilience without even noticing. You've learned how to soothe yourself, how to breathe through discomfort, how to sit with uncertainty longer than you thought you could. You've survived days that felt overwhelming. That's strength. You don't need to eliminate anxiety to live a meaningful life. You can build routines that support you, relationships that feel safe, moments of rest that refill you. You can choose softness where you once chose pressure. Anxiety may visit, but it does not define you. You are not an anxious person. You are a person who sometimes feels anxious. And there is a world of difference. If your mind won't sit still tonight, place your hand gently over your heart, take one slow breath and remind yourself, I am safe in this moment. I can cope. I don't have to solve everything right now. And that is more than enough. You are doing better than you think. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Take gentle care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.